They called him Jesus. He came to love, heal and forgive. He lived and died to buy my pardon. An empty grave is there to prove my Savior lives. Because He lives, I can face tomorrow. Because He lives, all fear is gone. Because I know who holds the future, and life is worth the living just because He lives.
Hello, you guys. Sorry I haven't put the Bible on. I just ain't done it. There's no excuse, just ain't done it. But I'm going to finish up Exodus, this 4 chapters. I'm going to go ahead and finish it up. Then that way we're done with that, and we can move on to Genesis, Leviticus. Alright, so we are on 37. And Bezalel made the ark of shittim wood. 2 cubits and a half was the length of it, and 1 cubit and a half the breadth of it, and 1 cubit and a half the height of it. Alright, so I got curious. What is a cubit? Well, a cubit is 18 inches, and this right here is 1 cubit and a half. So 2 cubits and a half is 45 inches. Okay? So I figured maybe that would kind of like help you on the cubic part. Ouch. I got pins in it. It's sticking me. Gotta quit. Alright. Now, number 2. And he laid it with pure gold, within and without, and made a crown of gold to it around about. And he cast for it 4 rings of gold, to be set by the 4 corners of it, even 2 rings upon the one side of it, and 2 rings upon the other side of it. And he made staves of shittim wood, and overlaid them with gold. And he put the staves into the rings by the side of the ark to bear the ark. And he made the mercy seat of pure gold. 2 cubits and a half was the length thereof, and 1 cubit and a half the breadth thereof. And he made 2 cherubims of gold, beaten out of 1 piece made he them, on the 2 ends of the mercy seat. 1 cubit on the end on the one side, and the other cherubim on the other end on the other side. Out of the mercy seat made he the cherubims on the 2 ends thereof. And the cherubim spread out their wings on high, and covered with their wings over the mercy seat, with their faces one to another. Even to the mercy seat were the faces of the cherubims. Now, I don't think the cherubims have been little babies with wings. I don't believe that. Number 10. And he made a table of shittim wood. 2 cubits was the length thereof, and 1 cubit the breadth thereof, and 1 cubit and a half of the height thereof. And he overlaid it with pure gold, and made thereunto a crown of gold around about it. Also he made thereunto a border of a hand breadth round about, and he made a crown of gold for the border thereof around about. And he cast it for 4 rings of gold, and put the rings upon the 4 corners that there were in the 4 feet thereof. Over against the border were the rings, the place for the staves to bear the table. And he made the staves of shittim wood, and overlaid them with gold to bear the table. And he made the vessels which were upon the table, his dishes and his spoons, and his bowls, and his covering to cover withal, of pure gold. And he made the candlesticks of pure gold, of beaten work made he the candlesticks. His stave and his branches, his bowls and his knobs, and his flowers were of the same. 18. And 6 branches going out of the side thereof, 3 branches of the candlestick out of the one side thereof, and 3 branches of the candlestick out of the other side thereof. 3 bowls made after the foundation of the almonds in one branch, a knob and a flower, and 3 bowls made like almonds in another branch, a knob and a flower. Also throughout the 6 branches going out of the candlesticks. And in the candlesticks were 4 bowls made like almonds, his knob and his flowers, and a knob under 2 branches of the same, and a knob under 2 branches of the same, and a knob under 2 branches of the same, according to the 6 branches going out of it. And their knobs and their branches were of the same. All of it was one beaten work of pure gold. And he made his 7 lamps, and his snuffers, and his snuff dishes of pure gold. Out of a talent of pure gold made he it, and all the vessels thereof. And he made the incense altar of shittim wood. The length of it was a cubit, and the breadth of it was a cubit, and it was 4 square. The 2 cubits was the height of it, and the horns thereof were the same. And he overlaid it with pure gold, both the top of it and the sides thereof around about, and the horns of it. Also he made unto it a crown of gold around about. And he made 2 rings of gold for it under the crown thereof, by the 2 corners of it, upon the 2 sides thereof, to be placed for the stave to bear it withal. And he made the staves of the shittim wood, and overlaid them with gold. And he made the holy anointing oil, and the pure incense of sweet spices, according to the work of the apothecary. Okay, 38. And he made altar to burn the offering of shittim wood. 5 cubits was the length thereof, and 5 cubits the breadth thereof. It was 4 square, and 3 cubits the height thereof. And he made the horns thereof on the 4 corners of it. The horns thereof were of the same, and he overlaid it with brass. And he made all the vessels of the altar, the pots and the shovels, and the basin, and the flesh hooks, and the fire pans, all the vessels thereof made he of brass. And he made for the altar a basin great of network under the compass thereof beneath unto the midst of it. And he cast 4 rings for the 4 ends of the grate of the brass. And he placed for the staves. And he made the staves of shittim wood, and he overlaid them with brass. And he put the staves into the rings on the side of the altar to bear it withal. and he made all the altar hollow with boards. And he made the laver of the brass, and the feet of it of brass, and he looking glass of the woman's assembly, which assembled at the door of the tabernacle of the congregation. And he made the court on the south side westward. The hanging of the court were of fine twined linen, and 100 cubits. And the pillars were 20, and their base and sockets 20, and the hooks of the pillars and their faucets were of silver. And for the north side, the hanging for 100 cubits, their pillars were 20, and their sockets of brass 20. And the hooks of the pillars and their fillets of silver. And for the west side were hangings of 50 cubits, their pillars 10, and their sockets 10, and the hooks of the pillar and their faucets of silver. And for the east side, eastward 50 cubits. The hanging of one side of the grate were 15 cubits, their pillars 3, and their sockets 3. And for the other side of the court's gate, on his hand and that hand, they were hung of 15 cubits, their pillars 3, and their sockets 3. All the hangings of the court around about were fine twined linen, and the sockets for the pillars were of brass. The hooks of the pillar and their fillets of silver, and the overlay of their carpenters of silver. And all the pillars of the court were filled with silver. And the hanging for the gate of the court was a needlework of blue and purple and scarlet and fine twined linen. And 20 cubits was the length, and the height in the breadth was 5 cubits, answerable to the hanging of the court. And their pillars were 4, and their sockets of brass 4, and their hooks of silver, and they overlaid of their chapiters and their fillers of silver. And all the pins of the tabernacle and of the court around about were of brass. This is the sum of the tabernacle, even of the tabernacle of testimony, as it was counted according to the commandment of Moses for the service of the Levites by the hand of Ishmael, son of Aaron the priest. 22. And Bezaleel, the son of Uriah, the son of Hor, the tribe of Judah, made all the Lord's commanded Moses, and with him was Aholiab, the son of Ahimash, of Ahishamush, of the tribe of Dan, an engineer and a cutting workman, and embroidered with blue and in purple and scarlet and fine linen. All the gold that was occupied for work, and all the work of the holy place, even the gold of the offering, was 29 talents, and even 730 shekels after the shekel of the sanctuary. And the silver of them that were numbered of the congregation was 100 talents, and 1,760 shekels after the shekel of the sanctuary. A belka for every man, that is half a shekel after the shekel of the sanctuary, for every one that went to be numbered from 20 years old and upward, and for 100,000 and 3,550 men. And of all the 100 talents of silver were cast the sockets of the sanctuary, and the sockets of the veil, and 100 sockets of 100 talents, a talent for a socket. And of the 1,775 shekels, he made hooks for the pillars, and overlaid their capiters, and filled them. And the brass of the offering was 70 talents and 2,400 shekels. And therewith he made the sockets to the door of the tabernacle, and the congregation, and the basin altar, and the basin grate for it, and all the vessels of the altar, and the sockets of the court round about, and the sockets of the court gate, and all the pins of the tabernacle, and all the pins of the court around about. All right, we are on 39. I think we got one more chapter. We got 39 and 40. All right, here we go. And of the blue and scarlet, the blue and purple and scarlet, they made clothes of service to do service in the holy place, and made the garments of Aaron, and the Lord commanded Moses. And he made the ephod of the gold, blue and purple and scarlet, and fine twined linen. And they did beat the gold into the plate, to thin plates, and cut it into wires, to work it in the blue and the purple, and in the scarlet, and the fine linen with cunning work. They made shoulder pieces for it, to couple it together. By the two edge was it coupled together. And the coarse girdle of his ephod that was about it was of the same, according to the work thereof, of gold, blue, and purple, and scarlet, and fine twined linen, as the Lord commanded Moses. And they wrought ox's stone, enclosed in ouches of gold, graven, as signets were graven in the name of the children of Israel. And he put them on the shoulders of the ephod, that they would be stones for memorial to the children of Israel. And the Lord commanded Moses. And he made a breastplate of cunning work, like the work of the ephod, of gold, blue, and purple, and scarlet, and fine twined linen. It was 4 square. They made the breastplate double, a span of the length thereof, and a span of the breadth thereof, being double. And they set in it 4 rows of stone. The first row was a cypress, a topaz, and a carbuncle. This was the first row. And the second row, an emerald, a sapphire, and a diamond. And the third row, a lignature, a agate, and a thymesis. And the fourth row, a beryl, an oxen, and a jasper. They were enclosed in ouches of gold in their enclosing. And these stones were according to the name of the children of Israel, 12 according to their name, like an engraving of a signet, every one with his name, according to the 12 tribes. And they made upon the breastplate chains at the end of weathered work of pure gold. And they made 2 ouches of gold, and the 2 gold rings, and put the 2 rings in the 2 ends of the breastplate. And they put the 2 withered chains of gold in the 2 rings on the end of the breastplate. And the 2 ends of the 2 withered chains they fashioned in the 2 ouches, and put them on the superpiece of the ephod before it. And they made 2 rings of gold, and they put them on the 2 ends of the breastplate, upon the borders of it, which was on the side of the ephod inward. And they made 2 other golden rings, and put them on the 2 sides of the ephod, underneath towards the forepart of it, over against the other coupling thereof, above the coarse girdle of the ephod. And they did bind the breastplate by his rings unto the rings of the ephod with the lace of blue, that it may be above the course girdle of the ephod, and that the breastplate may not be loosened from the ephod, as the Lord commanded Moses. And he made the robe of the ephod of woven work, all of blue. And there was a hole in the midst of the robe, as the hole of a harbigon, with a band around about the hole, that it should not rend. In other words, it won't tear. And they made upon the hem of the robe pomegranates of blue and purple and scarlet and and twined linen. And they made bells of pure gold, and put the bells between the pomegranates upon the hem of the robe, around about between the pomegranates. A bell and a pomegranate around about the hem of the robe, to minister in, as the Lord commanded Moses. And they made a coat of fine linen of woven work for Aaron and his sons, and a mire of fine linen, and a goodly bonnet of fine linen, and linen breeches of fine twined linen. 29. And a girdle of fine twined linen, blue, purple, scarlet, of needlework, as the Lord commanded Moses. And they made the plate of the holy crown of pure gold, and wrote upon it the writing like to engrave of the signet, holiness to the Lord. And they tied unto it a lace of blue, to fasten it on the high upon the mire, as the Lord commanded Moses. 32. Thus was all the work of the tabernacle and the tent of the congregation finished. And the children of Israel did according to all the Lord commanded Moses, so did they. And they brought the tabernacle unto Moses, the tent and all the furniture, its taches and its boards and its bars, and its pillars and its sockets, and the covering of ram skin dyed red, and the covering of badger skin in the veil of the covering, and the ark of the testimony, and the staves thereof, and the mercy seat, the table and all the vessels thereof, and the showbread, and the pure candlestick with the lamps thereof, even with the lamps to be set in order, and all the vessels thereof in the order for light, and the golden altar, and the anointing oil, and the sweet incense, and the hanging for the tabernacle door, the basin altar, and his gate of brass, his stave, and all his vessels, the laver and his foot, and the hanging of the court, and his pillars, and his sockets, and the hanging for the court gate, the cords, and his pins, and all the vessels of the service of the tabernacle for a tent of the congregation. The clothes of service to do service in the holy place, in the holy garments, for Aaron the priest and his son's garment, to minister unto the priest office, according to all that the Lord commanded Moses. So the children of Israel made all the work. And Moses did look upon all the work, and behold, they had done it as the Lord had commanded, even so had they done it, and Moses blessed them. So Moses was happy with it, and Moses was the one that had seen what it looked like up there, and so he did all of it the same. It will take me a minute, and then I'll come back and read 40. All right, we are on 40. And the Lord spoke unto Moses, saying, On the first day of the first month thou shalt set up the tabernacle of the tent of the congregation, and thou shalt put therein the ark of the testimony, and cover the ark with the veil. And thou shalt bring in the table, and set in order the things that are set to be set in order upon it. Thou shalt bring in the candlestick, and light the lamps thereof. And thou shalt set the altar of gold for the incense before the ark of the testimony, and put the hanging of the door to the tabernacle. And thou shalt set the altar of burnt offering before the door of the tabernacle of the tent of the congregation. And thou shalt set the lavender between the tent and the congregation and the altar, and thou shalt put water therein. And thou shalt set up the court around about, and hang up the hanging of the court gate. And thou shalt take the anointing oil, and anoint the tabernacle, and all that is therein, and shalt hallow it, and all the vessels thereof, and it shall be holy. And thou shalt anoint the altar of the burnt offering, and all the vessels, the sanctuary, and the altar, and it shall be an altar most holy. And thou shalt anoint the laver and his feet, his foot, and sanctify it. And thou shalt bring Aaron and his son into the door of the tabernacle of the congregation, and wash them with water. And thou shalt put upon Aaron the holy garments, and anoint him, and sanctify him, that he may minister unto me in the priest's office. And thou shalt bring his sons and clothe them with coats, and thou shalt anoint them, as thou didst anoint their father, and they may minister unto me in the priest's office. For their anointing shall surely be an everlasting priesthood throughout their generations. Thus did Moses according to all that the Lord commanded him, so did he. And it came to pass in the first month, in the 2nd year, on the first day of the month, that the tabernacle was reared up. The first month in the 2nd year. So they've been out there running around 2 years. Okay? I mean, this is what it says. The first month in the 2nd year. So that was 2 months. 2 years. My throat's getting sore. 18. And Moses reared up the tabernacle, and fastened his sockets, and set up the boards thereof, and put in the bars thereof, and reared up his pillars. And he spread abroad the tent over the tabernacle, and put the covering of the tent above upon it, and the Lord commanded Moses. And he took and put the testimony into the ark, and set the staves on the ark, and put the mercy seat upon the ark. And he brought the ark into the tabernacle, and set upon the veil of the covering, and covered the ark of the testimony, as the Lord commanded Moses. And he put the table in the tent of the congregation upon the side of the tabernacle northward, without the veil. And he set the bread in order upon it before the Lord, as the Lord commanded Moses. And he put the candlesticks in the tent of the congregation over against the table on the side of the tabernacle southward. And he lightened the lamps before the Lord, as the Lord commanded Moses. And he put the golden altar in the tent of the congregation before the veil. And he burnt sweet incense thereon, as the Lord commanded Moses. 28. And he set up the hanging at the door of the tabernacle. And he put the altar of the burnt offering by the door of the tabernacle of the tent of the congregation, and offered upon it the burnt offering and the meat offering, as the Lord commanded Moses. And he set the lavender between the tent of the congregation and the altar, and put water thereon to wash withal. And Moses and Aaron his son washed their hands and their feet thereat. when they went into the tent of the congregation, and when they came near unto the altar, they washed as the Lord commanded Moses. And he reared up the court round about the tabernacle and the altar, and set up the hanging of the court gate. So Moses finished the work. Then a cloud covered the tent of the congregation, and the glory of the Lord filled the tabernacle. Boy, I bet you that was something. And Moses was not able to enter into the tent of the congregation, because the cloud abode therein, and the glory of the Lord filled the tabernacle. Yeah, I would say that there wasn't no room. And when the cloud was taken up over the tabernacle, the children of Israel went onward in all their journey. But if the cloud were not taken up, then they journeyed not till the day that it was taken up. For the cloud of the Lord was upon the tabernacle by day, and fire was on it by night, and the sight of all the house of Israel throughout all their journey. So, according to this, by day there was a cloud, and by night there was a fire over it. And when they didn't move, then it was there. But when it moved, then they left. Alrighty. Hopefully tomorrow night we can start on Leviticus. Thank you guys for watching. I love each and every one of you. Bye. This is how to donate to my PayPal. You come down here to Poor Man's Sewing, and you mash on Poor Man's Sewing. Then you go over here to About. You mash on About. And right here is to donate to Poor Man's Sewing.